It's a beautiful Tuesday morning as we welcome you back to your Feel Good Breakfast show. As always, so good to be in your company at the start of a brand new day, and a very special day it is, Women's Day here in South Africa. In fact, this year marks the 66th anniversary since the march of approximately 20,000 women to the union buildings to petition against the pass laws of the country. And in light of Women's Day today, we've invited a panel of esteemed women from different designations to discuss modern-day womanhood.
We've got an amazing panel for you to tap into and to join in on that discussion. Excuse me, our panel consists of business consultant Heike Kannemeyer, media personality and broadcaster Nastasia Arendse, social worker and activist Nikki Asher Pedro, as well as author and research fellow from the UFS Institute for Reconciliation and Social Justice, Dr. Beryl Bortman. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And happy Women's Day.
Thank you.
Do we say Happy Women's Day?
No, we don't.
We don't say that. We commemorate it. We recognize it. We have an opportunity, but there is not a huge amount right now to celebrate when we talk about where women are in our society. So we applaud you for standing up and being here on our panel this morning. Thank you so, so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And of course, we hope to engage with you at home. So what is your message to the women of South Africa on Women's Day? Do send us your WhatsApp voice notes on 063 408 8863. We can't wait to hear from you. And we're going to start off with Dr. Beryl. Talk to us about, especially in light of the fact that this is the 66th anniversary that we are commemorating this very important day, the relevance and importance of this day in 2022.
For as long as women's rights and there's discrimination against women, as there was 66 years ago when women marched against the pass laws, we are still in some way carry different passes. And for as long as that is the case, for as long as there's gender-based violence, for as long as there's inequality in the workplace and in society, in our communities and in our homes, that is why it is so important that we do commemorate these days. But the way in which we do it is important. It is not a holiday. It is a day in which we reflect and we take stock of where we are, what our gains are and what our losses are. And we have only two things to do on Women's Day. If you are not organizing or leading an activity or an event regarding women's issues, you should be supporting it.
Be a part of it.
There is a reason why we focus on this particular group of women, certainly in light of the society that they existed in to stand up and create that groundswell. There were lessons learned then that we might have lost touch of now. There is a new generation that needs to be empowered, a new generation of women. What lessons can we carry forward from then to now? What can those children that weren't there know and learn from what was done during that time?
I think, that time we had togetherness, and we've lost that now. Because if your neighbor hit you, your mom wouldn't go have an argument with the neighbor, why you hit my child? But today that happens. We don't, as we say, it takes a village to raise a child. We don't have that in our communities anymore. And our community has been taken over by drugs, gangsterism, brokenness, men not taking their place as fathers, and our kids wanting love and to be accepted. So they look for that in other places. Our community has become so broken that we don't have that love and community anymore. We focus more on materialistical things, and with technology taking over, so much worse things are happening. And I think from the older days, we need to get back who we are and find that togetherness as being one community, to be there for one another, because we are not islands as people. We need each other. And I think also where hope has gone out by the door, we don't have hope anymore. And it's sad what we see. I mean, I come from Pontieville, and it's sad what you see in our communities, but also to give people back their dignity. And that's what's important.
Basic human rights,
And Nastasia, a lot of the work that we're talking about can be properly reflected in the media scene. And as someone in the media scene, you understand the impact of the platforms that you occupy and what changes they can make. Let's talk about some of the challenges that you've seen within the industry itself, and also how representation can really help to push the fight forward for women's rights and for gender equality.
Well, the challenges are sort of multi-layered, but the ones that come to mind is the support within the workspace in terms of advancing young women and women up the corporate ladder and creating those ecosystems within the organization to propel them forward. And the ecosystems are, I suppose, encouraging them to study further, seeing potential, mentorship. We sort of underplay that quite often, and it plays such a significant role, especially with young women who have aspirations to sit at an executive level, at a board level. And sometimes the mentorship can open the door, because once we have one of our own, one of the women in the room making the executive strategic decisions with the big players, she then opens the door and lets another woman in. And then it sort of plays itself forward, because we've created the system within our organizations. It's now become a culture where we want to take one of our own and push them up.
It's the old boys club. When you look at the men, that's how it works, is you get yourself a business mentor, and then he's mutually invested in the outcome of every piece of advice that he gives you.
Yes.
That's a model that works within business. It's a model that needs to work within entrepreneurship. We're going to talk about the entrepreneurial journey and how women can take control of that, because that's what this country needs.
Yes.
We need more successful entrepreneurs. We want to see figureheads within business, yes, but we want to see people making money and stimulating their own economy. And we're going to kind of continue with that in just a moment. I know you're dying to talk. We're going to wind you up just a little bit longer. But again, we'd love to have your input this morning. Any of your insights, if you are currently working within the corporate space at the moment, or maybe are an entrepreneur and trying to break new ground as a woman, we'd love to get a voice note from you. 063 408 8863. Have you got it yet?
I do.
Almost.
I do.
Yeah,
Almost
well
there.
done.
Give me one more try and I'll be there.
We'd love to hear from you.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. This is your Feel Good Breakfast Show on S3 on this Women's Day, a very important day in the context of the history of our nation and indeed in modern day as well. And we're talking about building back better for women's resilience, and that's the theme for this year's Women's Day. And right now we're resuming our conversation on modern day womanhood with our esteemed panel. We're joined once again by business consultant Heike Kannemeyer, media personality and broadcaster Nastasia Arendse, social worker and activist Nikki Asher Pedro, as well as author Dr. Beryl Bortman. Of course, we'd love for you to weigh in on the conversation as well, so do send us those voice notes on 063 408 8863. Let's listen to one of those right now as we get into the conversation.
Joined the conversation this morning and had these insights. Let's hear from her.
Good morning, my Expresso family. Happy Tuesday. I would like to send a dedication out to my mom, Betty Jacobs. Thanks for being the strong woman that you are, and thank you for all your love and support for our family. And then to my two favorite ladies on Expresso, Jamie Lee and Zoe. Thanks for always inspiring and motivating other women, and also the ladies on the crew. Thanks for an awesome show every day. And then to the rest of the team, have a great day.
Absolutely love that. And we've got a lot of women upstairs. The show is run by women, and we love the fact, because we're an empathetic platform, and we need to tap into these, not isolate these kind of, I think, traits that we often attach to a woman. But then when you rise in business, you've got to ignore the fact that we need more empathy, we need more connectedness, we need more compassion. We've got to deaden those nerves, but maybe that's not the case. Heike, we speak about economic freedoms, and it's a great notion. We know we have, yes, made some strides, but we are still a very uneven landscape. What does it mean for a woman to take control of her own entrepreneurial journey? What does that mean to you?
Well, I think for me personally, and also just with the clients that I've consulted, is that it is challenging to really take ownership of your entrepreneurial journey if you don't have a brief or a basic understanding of what is business. You know, what does it look like? Not an in-depth understanding. Of course, we all need to start somewhere. But to really, I think, to really feel confident is to start to own your entrepreneurial journey, is to start with understanding, upskilling yourself, educating yourself in the basic elements of business. There are basic aspects of business that we can all start to just educate ourselves on. And I think once you've owned that and you know that you're going to step into it and you're going to educate yourself, is then to have what I like to call radical confidence. So it's not a confidence that you may have today or knowing in what you know at the moment in terms of business, but radical confidence speaks to knowing and believing in yourself and what you'll know tomorrow or the day thereafter, because you'll know you'll push yourself. So in a year, in a week or so, you'll become better. So having radical confidence in yourself and knowing that you're going to own it as you learn and grow in your entrepreneurial journey.
I love that, because you need fortitude as an entrepreneur. You're going to hear no 100 times probably before you get that one yes, but that one yes is all you generally need.
Absolutely.
Love that.
And of course, Natasha, I want to talk to you about the fact that, you know, we can celebrate all of the wins, as Dr. Botman said earlier on, but all too often we come across devastating and tragic stories, as we've come across recently. The brutality in Krugersdorp upon those 8 girls. This is a bit of a tough question to you, but in your view, as somebody in the media landscape who's covered multitudes of stories before, what is the root of this violence and this inhumane brutality that we're seeing?
I think part of the reason is that we haven't been able to have the kind of honest conversations about what abuse actually means in the community and the impact it's having on everyone around us. It's the unfortunate incident in the West Rand has changed the conversation completely, and perhaps even, you know, forced us to amplify the issues that we've known have existed when it comes to gender-based violence. And now what it's done, it said, you know, as Dr. Barrel had said, is that, you know, you got to be able to not just talk about it and write about it and, you know, cover the stories. We've got to do more by pushing the authorities to enact policies that support and protect women. By having the communities have a changing conversation about how do we look after each other. And what you've seen with the West Rand communities, and you know, it's almost reached breaking point where they've now wanted to take matters into their own hands, which is unfortunate. So it's just said, change the conversation, amplify it, and get the right authorities to really be dealing with it as opposed to just constantly talking.
Feels like you're approaching, and I, as a father of a young girl, obviously this hits home in the most personal space that I have, but we also have a front row seat to watching what happens within our country. The last 3 years have been desperate. We have been shook to our very foundations, and that desperation has led to the most abhorrent, the worst behavior that we've probably seen in our country's history, which is saying a lot at the moment. I keep feeling like I need to crack this code. I'm a man. Surely I can figure this out. Surely I can start that conversation. Surely I can use my media platform, but I'm still reaching for answers. I'm still asking every single guest in the space, what do we need to do? So Dr. Beryl, I'm going to ask you now again, what do I need to do as a man to come to the party?
I think it's very important that we start from the very beginning in the way we raise our children, our boy children and our girl children, and men who have already grown, is to just accept that we're not in a gender competition, and accept one another, respect one another as equal partners. Accept that you can contribute to developing the potential of a girl child and of a woman, and also, if you're a man, of yourself in an equal way. And if it so happens that the woman has more talent than you or more abilities, accept that as well, and grow what you have and let her reach her full potential.
Gotcha.
And if she has less potential or less ability than you have, do not degrade her, but accept that that is what she is. Accept women for who they are. Give them the space to develop their full potential as equal partners in this society.
Yeah, and in such a way we can build that equal society sustainably for all of us. And I think that, we all collectively want that future in which our children can thrive and reach their full potential. And we thank you so much for that insight. And we hope to have some more of your insights, of course. So do send us those voice notes on 063-408-8863. Did I get it right? Is that the number? Fantastic stuff. Our
Actually, to be honest, I still don't properly know it, so I don't know, man.
We continue our conversation after these.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to a vitally important discussion, not just today being Women's Day, but every single day. So hopefully you are going to take this on board and gain a few insights as we take into context womanhood in a modern landscape. And we're joined once again by a wonderful panel this morning. Business consultant Heike Kannemeyer, media personality and broadcaster Nastasia Arendse, social worker and activist Nikki Asher Pedro, as well as author Dr. Beryl Bortman. Thank you so much once again for our panel joining us this morning. And of course, you can join that conversation. What is your message on this Women's Day? And we would love you to send us a voice note. You can drop it out our WhatsApp line, 063-408-8863. And in fact, let's hear one of those messages right now.
Morning, my name is Namtandazo, and I'm here to give out a poem for Women's Day. So my poem starts with: a woman's breath, a woman's existence, gives life, make it green. I stand for a woman. Women are smart, women are strong and beautiful, women are great fathers. That is why we celebrate Women's Day. Thank you.
That is
Love
absolutely
that.
beautiful.
Thank you so much for that.
I love it. What a way to start off this part of the conversation. And perhaps I could then redirect the next question to you, Nikki. In terms of your work as a social worker and a journalist, you are very much on the ground. I mean, during the break, you were just telling us about some of the challenges you've seen within the community. And I want to focus on what have you seen as the most pressing challenges that are preventing women from reaching their full potential?
I think education and not empowering themselves and their self-worth. Because some of our women feel they're not worth better things. They are just to be a mother or work in a factory, and that's it. Nothing beyond that. And we don't instill in our girl child that you can go study, you are better, you are good. Because I've seen friends and family and people within the community telling their daughter, why do you want to go study? You know, you must just go work in a factory. For me, education is key. I always tell people that I work with, there are 6 other continents out there. If you can't find a job here, travel, explore, learn, educate. I've worked with diverse communities. You get to your foreign nationals that's surviving, that want to work. And they have to go through so many things. We live in a community that's so different and unique and special. But because of indifferences, we don't see that. And we're not there to help one another. Sometimes people go out and they do soup kitchens or whatever, like prominent people, whatever, and they get a shock. But these are things that happen every day.
Yeah, that's a reality.
It's a reality. People are trying to survive. Crime is there because of so many things. Our politicians are not doing what they're supposed to do. But at the end of the day, it's not also the politicians' business. It's us as a community. How do we participate within our own community to make it safe? There are so many things that you can do. Women go to the bus stop in Mitchell's Plain, in Pontyville, in early mornings after. It's dark. Have men who does neighborhood watch. Go walk with the women to the bus stop. Go see that they're safe at the bus stop. And this is what some communities are doing. But because of our lack of education and self-thinking, and we're not a thinking community, especially in our poor communities, because we survive, we don't have time,
For that, yeah.
to think about education, but it's about our leadership and community leaders coming in and saying, you are worthy. Like now, Surplus is having a group where they're talking to men about men issues, their emotions, not being called a morphe when you cry. But men are human beings. They have feelings. And our community is so broken. And I think we're also living so far from God because there doesn't seem to be hope. And we don't pray as communities, we don't pray as families, because everybody's sitting with their cell phone, nobody's having supper together, how was your day, what happened, we're not interacting anymore. And these are important things that we need to do. Go back to the basics.
Get that human connection. And when we're doing these things, when you're walking that woman to the bus stop, do it so a young man can see and know why. Do it so a young girl can see and know why she needs to be respected and looked after in that way. Dr. Beryl, it is no big surprise that this country is driven by single-parent households, the vast majority of which are women, and you laid that narrative bare in your book, Without You, a true life journey of the sudden loss of your own husband. To that woman that is feeling like the walls are caving in right now, that feels completely isolated in that space, running a household, what do you say to her to have that strength, find that strength, that resilience that we talk about in the theme of our Women's Day today? What message do you have to that woman?
The message I have is for women to be part of networks, be part of groups, accept a hand that is reaching out to you, accept a partnership, and participate in activities in your community, be aware of what is happening in your faith community. There is help, and there will always be support. You need to use that and also be a support to other women. We have a National Department of Women, Youth and People with Disabilities. I wish that we are more aware of what they do. Why is it that we are wondering, what are they doing? Why can't we even find anything online of activities that's supposed to be promoting
what's been gazetted?
Women,
Yeah.
youth, people living with disabilities? We must, it is that department's mandate to see that we're going forward with those issues, and so we should make a call on them in a very real way. So I think participate, be part of a group. There's strength in numbers, and voice your feelings, voice your suffering. Speak up and speak out.
I love that.
Ladies, thank you very, very much for your contribution on this very important topic, on this very important day, and to you as well at home for those voice notes you sent as we commemorate Women's Day. And I think one of the key takeouts for me from this conversation, it happened during the ad break where Dr. Bortman did say that this is a collective consciousness that we need to tackle and address, because it is something that we've kind of grown used to, the not speaking out, the keeping silent over many generations, and we need to address this on a daily basis. It needs to become not just something we talk about today and during the month of August, but every single day. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you, ladies. And do it in your home today.